affiliate across the country. If you listen to us in the Volta region, this is Ho FM 92.5, Dagbon FM 102.5. It's also picking the bulletin live in Tamale. We're live on Radio Power 92.1. In the Upper West region, we're live on Radio Power 96 in Spain. Join us around the world on classfmonline.com. Well, coming up in the next 30 minutes, Chief Justice speaks on legal vacation, says it doesn't stop judges from hearing cases.
You're a lawyer. You have your clients. If your clients decide to give you leave, well, go on leave. But you cannot say that there's a legal vacation and the judge who is actually sitting cannot do your case. No, that's not it.
Meanwhile, Deputy Attorney General challenges Ghana Bar Association's legal vacation position and says vacation judges can conduct trials in their own court. Still in the courts, the Accra High Court has dismissed a request by lawyers for former NPA CEO Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid and 4 others to adjourn their trial until October. Also in this bulletin, Burkina Faso authorities postponed Bagre Dam spillage.
The regional minister has instructed that all the disaster management committees from the region to all the districts be activated. Every NADMO officer is supposed to be on the field.
And also coming up in this bulletin this afternoon, Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy calls for review of Ghana's power purchase agreement.
The revelation at the U.S. court exposes our weakness in guarding the interest of the state in some of these contracts signed by IPPs.
And African news, Libyan authorities battle big blaze at major oil refinery. These are more stories, plus some interesting discussions coming up shortly. Thank you for choosing 12 Life. My name is Kwame Ocher Jr.
And I am Veronica Amade.
Now to the very first story. Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni has rejected the position that lawyers can decline to proceed with cases simply because they have been scheduled during the legal vacation. He said the judge who is sitting and ready to hear a case cannot be prevented from doing so merely because the council has made personal arrangements during the vacation period. Speaking at the second quadrennial Delegates Congress of the Senior Staff Association of the Judicial Service of Ghana in Sunyani in the Bono region, the Chief Justice said lawyers could take leave only where their clients permitted them to do so.
To write to the Chief Justice to say that the cases should not be adjourned to the vacation. So I am not coming. I have already made agreements outside, so I'm not coming. You are a lawyer. You have your clients. If your clients decide to give you leave, well, go on leave. But you cannot say that there's a legal vacation and the judge who is actually sitting cannot do your case. No, that's not it. And then adjournments are not at the instance of the Chief Justice. Adjournment is a judicial act. This is something that is so basic that sometimes when people write that I got a letter saying that I should withdraw the directive and also direct that the cases should be heard in the third time. I said, you went to court and the judge decided that she was granting you.
You heard Chief Justice Justice Paul Bafuboni. Well, the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Rimsai, has rejected the Ghana Bar Association's position that trials should not be conducted during the ongoing legal vacation. Dr. Rimsai says vacation judges are empowered to hear substantive cases and conduct trials, particularly in cases assigned to their own court. His comments come in response to a petition by the Ghana Bar Association to the Chief Justice, urging her to stop the compulsory hearing of parts heard criminal cases during the legal vacation. The Ghana Bar Association argues that vacation courts have traditionally handled urgent and interlocutory matters and do not conduct trials. The association is also insisting that lawyers should not be compelled to appear during the vacation, and that cases should be adjourned where counsel indicate an inability to attend. He has further raised concerns that an accused person should not be forced to represent themselves simply because their lawyer is unavailable during the vacation. But Dr. Justice Rimsai says the Ghana Bar Association's position is not supported by law, rules, or established practice. Our reporter has been looking at the Deputy Attorney General's response.
To write to the Chief Justice to say that the cases.
Deputy Attorney General Justice Rimsai has strongly challenged the Ghana Bar Association's position on proceedings during the legal vacation. He argues that the legal vacation only significantly reduces the workload of the court and does not mean the court shuts down. According to him, when the Chief Justice authorizes a judge to sit during the vacation judge can hear both substantive and interlocutory matters in cases from that judge's own court. He explained that where the vacation judges takes over cases from another judge who is on vacation, the judge can generally handle interlocutory matters while substantive proceedings remains with the substantive judge. The Rimsai therefore rejects the Ghana Bar Association's assertion that vacation court handles only urgent interlocutory matters and never conduct trials. He says courts in Ghana have conducted trial during legal vacations and argues that there is no rule giving lawyer or the Ghana Bar Association the authority to determine whether court proceedings should continue. The Deputy Attorney General also disputes the claim that the availability or willingness of a counsel should be overriding consideration in deciding whether a matter proceeds during the vacation. He maintains that the responsibility for managing and controlling court proceedings rests with the bench. He says lawyers who require time away during the vacation may ask the judge for adjournment, but the decision to grant such a request must rest with the judge, taking into account the circumstances and the interests of justice. He cautioned that allowing lawyers to determine whether proceedings should continue would effectively shift power to manage court proceedings from judges to lawyers, which he says could have serious implications for the administration of justice.
And that's a news desk report. Still in court, the Accra High Court has rejected a request by lawyers for 4 accused persons in the case involving former National Petroleum Authority MP Chief Executive Officer Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid to adjourn the trial until October. The defense teams had asked the court to suspend proceedings for the legal vacation and resume the case in October. However, the court declined the request and directed that the proceedings should continue during the legal vacation. The judge indicated that the trial would continue unless the Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni withdraws the warrant directing selected high-profile criminal cases to proceed during the legal vacation. The decision means the ongoing trial in which Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid and other accused persons face allegations including extortion and related offences involving players in the petroleum sector will not be halted for the vacation.
Live around the world on 91.3 FM and classfmonline.com. This is 12 Live.
Let's do some other stories. Residents along the White Volta River in Ghana have been given some reprieve after Burkina Faso postponed today's planned control spillage of the Bagre Dam. The postponement comes after authorities in Burkina Faso announced plans to release water from dam as its water levels continue to rise. The control spillage is being undertaken by Burkina Faso's electricity company Sonabel to protect the structural integrity of the dam and prevent the reservoir from reaching dangerously high levels. Any release of water from the Bagre Dam is expected to increase water level downstream along the White Volta River and tributaries in Ghana. The Northeast region is among the areas that could be spillage. Speaking to Class News, Northeast Regional NADMO Director Alhaji Rafiu Tahiru said NADMO officers have been deployed to various centers to help ensure the safety of residents.
Collective kind of work that we are doing. But one thing I can assure you is that the regional minister has instructed that all the disaster management committees from the region to all the districts be activated. In this regard, every NADMO officer is supposed to be on the field. And then we make sure that farmers who are farming along the river banks, once the water gets into the farm, we wouldn't allow any farmer into the riverside. So for now, we are pushing and helping them to pick whatever is ready from the farm. Here we depend largely on rain. And so as soon as it depends on when the rain will start for the farmers to go in and sow. So if the rain starts late, then it means that farmers will not farm, or they will not get to the farm so early in order to pick their farm produce early. So all depends on the rain. The rain.
You heard the Northeast Regional NADMO Director Alhaji Rafiu Tahiru. Now let's do some other stories. The Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy is calling for greater transparency in Ghana's power sector, including the publication and review of all power purchase agreements PPAs signed in 2013. The calls for follows the conviction of former Tema Oil Refinery Managing Director Asante Kweku Beko in United States over a bribery scheme linked to Ghana's power sector. Executive Director Benjamin Isia says particular attention should be paid to agreements signed during periods of emergency power supply. He also calling for existing agreements to be subjected to further scrutiny, conducted trials in Accra.
The revelation at the U.S. court exposes our weakness in guarding the interest of the state in some of these contracts signed by IPPs. What it simply signifies is that in most of the cases there is no value for money, and the authority or institution that was supposed to ensure value for money, or maybe promote check and balances with respect to some of these contracts, that's the Parliament of Ghana, renege on its responsibility to stand instead of the good people of Ghana. And I think it should be a matter of worry and a matter of concern, especially at the time that we continue to pay higher tariffs due to some of these over-bloated and overestimated power purchase agreements.
You heard the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy Executive Director Benjamin Isia.
Live around the world on 91.3 FM and classfmonline.com. This is 12 Live.
Well, this is 12 Live here on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on classfmonline.com. The University Teachers Association of Ghana has rejected claims by the Ghana Association of University Administrators that salary differences between teaching and non-teaching senior members amount to discrimination. In a statement issued on Monday, August 10, 2026, UTAG described GAWA's claims as misleading. The disagreement comes as GAWA reactivate its suspended strike over disparities in market premiums and allowances. According to UTAG, differences in pay do not automatically mean unfair treatment. The association said public universities employ different categories of professionals, including academics, administrators, accountants, librarians, legal officers, and technicians with varying qualifications, responsibilities, and labor market conditions. UTAC argued that market premiums should be based on objective factors such as complexities of work qualifications, scarcity of skills, and the need to attract and retain specialized personnel. UTAC said it supports fair and sustainable conditions for all university workers, but maintains that fairness do not mean elimination distinction between occupational groups. Meanwhile, the Technical University Senior Administrators Association of Ghana, TUSAC, has declared its full support for the ongoing strike by the Ghana Association of University Administrators. In a statement dated Saturday, August 9, 2026, TUSAC said it fully associates itself with GAWA's industrial action. According to TUSAC, the decision is due to long-standing concerns over pay disparities and unresolved grievances affecting both teaching and non-teaching senior members in public universities and technical universities, noting that the issue has stake impact and welfare and conditions of service of its members, and backing GAWA is necessary to push for resolution. The association called on governments and relevant stakeholders to urgently address the disparities to restore fairness across university system.
Let's do some other story. Landlords and property owners have until November 30th to regularize their registration and tenancy records as the Rent Control Department steps up enforcement of Ghana's rent laws. The department says effective August 17, landlords seeking its services will, where applicable, will be required to provide evidence that they will have issued and maintained rent cards for their tenants under the Rent Act. Landlords of qualifying month or shorter tenancies are required to issue rent cards within 7 days after the tenancy begins. The department says landlords who fail to comply may have the applications or requests for administrative services deferred or declined until the required documentation is submitted and verified. It has also warned that private hostel operators that they will be subject to rent control requirements where the law applies beginning 2026-2027 academic year. Hostel operators providing residential accommodation to students and applicable tenancies will be required to issue rent cards and maintain proper records of their student tenants' accommodation, rents, and tenancy periods.
Let me take you to the office of the Vice President because Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has announced that sanitation performance will now be a key indicator in assessing metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies as government steps up to improve cleanliness and waste management. Speaking at a second national dialogue on decentralization, the Vice President said the move is aimed at ensuring measurable improvements in sanitation across the country. She said recent flooding in several parts of the country highlights the need for stronger local leadership, a greater accountability and sustained citizen participation in environmental health and sanitation. Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman also stressed that government's cleanup exercise cannot remain a monthly event, insisting that cleanliness must become a daily discipline. Listen.
Cleanliness must become a daily. To reinforce this commitment, sanitation performance is now a key performance indicator for metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives. Assemblies to be expected to demonstrate measurable improvement in cleanliness and waste management. We can all help to make it possible. And we're doing it to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, as we reflect on the theme for this year's dialogue, let us remember that this is exercise ultimately aimed for the Ghanaian citizen. Our aim is a learning where local institutions have the confidence, the capacity, and the resources to respond to local needs, and where communities are active partners in shaping development.
So that's the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. Also speaking at the dialogue, the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim, also called for separate budgets for the 16 regional coordinating councils to strengthen their oversight of MMDAs. We'll bring you that sound later in our subsequent bulletin. This is 12 Live here on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on classfmonline.com. Well, the Tourism Minister, Abla Jiva Gomashi, has announced a significant growth in Ghana's tourism sector, with international tourist arrivals rising to 1.3 million Ghana cedis in 2025. She said the figure represents an increase from more than 1.2 million international tourist arrivals recorded in 2024. According to the minister, the increase in international arrivals generated an estimated $4.34 billion in tourism revenue. She said the growth translated into significant economic activity and strengthened the contribution of tourism to national economy.
International tourist arrivals reached 1,303,962 people in 2025, which is an increase over the 2024 figure of 1,288,804. Domestic tourism grew from 1.68 million visits in 2024 to 1.7 million visits in 2025, representing 7% growth. The total revenue generated from the arrivals in 2025 is 4.34 billion. The 10 most visited attractions in Ghana combined to draw 1,377,588 visitors in 2025. This accounted for roughly 77% of all domestic tourism site visits nationwide.
So that's the Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Abla Jifa Gomashi there.
Live around the world on 91.3 FM and classfmonline.com. This is 12 Live.
Let me take you to some African news. Well, despite having died more than the spectre is hanging over the Zambian election campaign in the shape for former President Edgar Lungu. Despite having died more than a year ago in South Africa, his body remained unburied amid a bitter dispute between Presidents Hakainde and Lungu family that has sharpened political divisions. This has had a role in energizing support for the opposition National Reconciliation Party for unity and prosperity, particularly in the northern half of the country. Traditional strongholds of Lungu's Patriotic Front, that's PF, as people see it as offering the best chance to unseat the incumbent. Meanwhile, it has complicated the second term bid of Hikema and his United Party for National Development, UPND, which draws its core support from South West and Northwest, while seeking to expand its reach nationwide. The political battle is playing out on the streets of the capital, that's Lusaka, as the afternoon heat blazes across the city. The familiar home of commerce hanging over the busy markets is overlaid with the sound of campaign songs and jingles, while election posters are everywhere, from lampposts and shop fronts to massive billboards with faces of presidential and parliamentary candidates looming over passers-by. All this as Zambia prepares for one of its most unpredictable elections in years. On 13th August, more than 8 million registered voters will get the chance to choose a president and a new parliament. Hikelma wants 5 more years after his 2021 landslide win over Lungu on the platform of a change. Yet, what many expected to be a relatively straightforward contest at this time has been reshaped by Lungu's death and late surge of opposition challenger Brian Mudubile, persistent cost of living pressure, and questions about electoral credibility. This is all against the backdrop of recent constitutional reforms aimed at boosting the voice of the youth and women. Well, the dominant conversation on streets, corners, and in minibus taxis is the cost of living. Zambia has not been spared from the worldwide pressures of high food and energy prices that followed the pandemic and subsequent geopolitical shocks. Annual inflation has cooled to around 6.6%, its lowest in 8 years, and the currencies, the kwacha, has strengthened, but for many households, the relief remains theoretical.
Kwame, let me give you some news within our borders before we go to international news. So the Northeast Regional Police Commander has arrested 4 people and intercepted 118 bags of cocoa beans weighing 11,800 kilograms, allegedly en route to neighboring Togo. The suspects are 35-year-old Dixon Asante, the driver of the truck, 90-year-old Gideon Tab, his mate, 22-year-old Mohammed Mumen, and 23-year-old Ernestina Akugui, who claims ownership of the consignment. In a Facebook post today, August 11, the police said the interception followed intelligence received on Sunday, August 9th, about a Hyundai Rhino truck with registration number AS327225 transporting plantain and cocoa under suspicious circumstances towards the Bukupu Togo border. And so, acting on the information, the police patrol team intercepted the vehicle at the police snap checkpoint and arrested the 4 suspects. A joint security team comprising personnel from the Ghana Police Service, the Ghana Immigration Service, Defense Intelligence, the GRA Customs Division, and National Security subsequently researched the vehicle at the Customs Office. The search, according to the police, revealed that the plantain had allegedly been loaded onto the truck as a decoy to conceal the cocoa beans. The 118 bags of cocoa weighing a total of 11,800 kilograms were intercepted before they could be transported across the border in Togo. The four suspects are currently in police custody assisting with investigations, and so the police said the suspects will be put before the court to face the full rigors of the law.
Before we go to the markets, let me bring you one of our headline stories. So, Libyan emergency services have been battling to contain a huge blaze at the major oil plant after it was targeted by unknown attackers. The Zawiya refinery west of the capital, Tripoli, was hit in a drone strike on Monday evening, the third such incident in 2 days. The National Oil Corporation said the tank containing about 4.5 million liters of fuel was directly hit, triggering a huge fire that caused it to collapse. It said it was considering suspending operations if the attack continued. So that's it from the African news. But are you ready to review your fortunes? Review Scratch for Win is here to change your life for good. Just dial *850*5# and win up to 1 million Ghana cedis or more in cash prizes instantly. It is easy, fun, and exciting. Choose Class 91.3 FM to play the game. Select stake amounts between 5 cedis and 2,000 cedis. Choose your lucky card out of 5 options. Confirm gameplay and enter your Momo pin. Receive your game results instantly. It is easy, fun, and exciting. Review Scratch for Win. Scratch Keke. Nadisi Bam. It is for persons 18 years above and powered by Super Cash Games.
Well, let's do some other stories in Africa, because thousands of unregistered miners known as Zamazamas operate in South Africa, scavenging abandoned mines for gold and other minerals in odious and often perilous conditions. So 14 illegal miners, mostly Batus, died during a rockfall. Police spokeswoman Colonel Adele says 8 others were hospitalized. An unknown number of illegal miners are currently possibly trapped under the ground. Police are on the scene and the scene is still active, as officials were headed to the site of the disaster near the town of nearly 100 kilometers northeast of Johannesburg, an area of the northwest province where there are several established platinum mines. The incident was reported late today. Illegal miners working in South Africa come from several countries across the region, driven by poverty and unemployment, and the sector has been linked to organized crime, assassination, extortion, and other illegal activities. They also say that most of the thousands of illegal miners operate in abandoned gold shafts in Gauteng province that includes Johannesburg. President Cyril Ramaphosa in February announced the deployment of other army to help police to fight illegal mining, with the activity contributing to major infrastructure damage in and the area. And so a reputable company is looking to recruit a security guard, and the requirement is minimum of a senior high school certificate or equivalent, also previous experience in a similar role in an added advantage, being honest, disciplined, alert, and physical fit, and so good communication and interpersonal skills. You also have to reside around Labone, Cantonment, Osu, or nearby communities. Now, how to apply? Interested candidates should send their CV via WhatsApp and call 053-446-7842. 053-446-7842. Only shortlisted applicants will be contracted.
And that's all for 12 Live this afternoon. We came to you live from our studios here at digital address 004235598. Not Labone, third daddy work on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on classfmonline.com. My name is Kwame Ochiri Jr.
And I am Veronica Amade.
Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Good afternoon.